welcome back to another episode of the Wellness FOURplay podcast. I am your host, Dr. Dondee Nettles. If you are catching this live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, please do me a favor and drop a hashtag live in the comments down below so that I can thank you for personally attending. And if you're catching this on the replay, please do me a favor and put hashtag replay in the comments below so that I can say personally thank you. And if you are catching this on any of the podcast streams like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, thank you so much for listening to the audio version of this, which is the predominant majority of people that listen to podcasts. Most of them listen to the audio version. But again, if you're catching me live here in the video version of this, thank you all for attending. It is my absolute honor to share with you tonight. Well, I'm going to ask 4 questions, and this is kind of stemming from last night's episode, that I really want to take the time to go on a quest for educating the masses on where wellness really comes from. Most people, unfortunately, and I'm talking lay people, don't necessarily know what that is. They make a good effort to eat right. They probably make a pretty good effort to stay mobile and pay attention to basic health and wellness information. And it doesn't have to be scientific. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be cumbersome. And it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. It just takes a little bit of effort every single day. And the first question that I want to ask of you is, how are your current food choices interfering with your quest for wellness? And let me define wellness before you think about the answer to that question. So wellness is your body's natural state. It is always striving to be well. Your body never, ever seeks to harm you or never seeks to make you suffer from a disease. It is constantly trying to be well. I mean, if you just think about it, if the natural state of the human existence was disease, we would have died out a long time ago. The body's natural state and natural quest and natural objective is to remain well, is to acquire wellness and then keep that as long as possible. But there are definite things that you must do. You cannot let someone else drive your quest for wellness. In other words, you can't get into, there is no Uber or any kind of other opportunity that is going to take you to wellness. You can't pull up your app and go to Uber and Lyft for wellness. And then when the car shows up, you just get in and now you're along for the ride, but someone else is in control. That's not how wellness works. Your body's natural striving and its natural tendency and its quest is always wellness, but you have to be a willing and, most importantly, active participant. And so when it comes to food choices, the food choices that you make, are they to satisfy a craving, whether it's salt or sweet or protein or whatever it is, or is it to fuel your body? And let me preface, as you're thinking about the answer, let me say something. There is no such thing as good food or bad food. No such thing. There is no such thing as good food or bad food. There is, however, a good thing or a good way to a good lifestyle choice of food choices over a prolonged period of time, as well as bad food choices over a prolonged period of time. But you will never sit down and eat a bowl of high sugar, high processed, corn sweetened syrup and all the other processed chemicals that goes into it, even if it tastes great, like a big bowl of ice cream, for example. You're not going to eat one bowl of highly processed, highly artificial, highly synthetic, highly chemical ice cream and get cancer from one bowl of ice cream. That's what I mean by there's no such thing as bad food. There are bad food choices over a prolonged period of time. And also, you won't find somebody who has cancer sits down and eats an organic fruits and vegetables and free-range chicken or grass-fed and finished lean protein, or maybe they're a vegan and every single source of what they're eating is pure, organic, and the highest quality. They eat one meal and all of a sudden they don't have cancer anymore. So what I'm saying is, in isolation, there is no such thing as good food or bad food. There is only good food choices and bad food choices over a prolonged period of time. If you eat synthetic and sugar ridden and processed chemicals ice cream multiple times a day, every day, you will get heart disease. You will get atherosclerosis. You will gain weight. You will develop diabetes. You will develop obesity. You will develop all kinds of health challenges. No question, no argument. It is a proven fact. And if you eat right and you eat organic fruits and vegetables and you don't eat any processed foods and no synthetic foods, no harmful chemical foods with preservatives and dyes and all kinds of synthetic things, you will every single day get closer and closer and closer to wellness, so long as you're not drinking, eating, or around and absorbing any kinds of toxins. And let me share what I mean by that. There is only two causes of disease. Or that's actually only one cause of disease, but two ways in which it happens. There's only one cause of disease. Every single disease known to man, whatever you call it, every single disease known to man has one common denominator: cellular malfunction. Whether it's cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, or a hangnail, it is malfunctioning cells. Every single disease or human malady has malfunctioning cells at the root. And there's only two causes of malfunctioning cells. Two. One is they're toxic. In other words, you are taking in something, absorbing something, eating something, subjecting yourself to some kind of wave that is poisoning the cells of your body. And as a result, they're malfunctioning. The only other option is you are deficient in something that you need, and because you don't have it, your cells are malfunctioning and therefore you have disease. Those are the only two ways you end up at disease. Now, are there genetic errors where someone may be born with disease? Yes, there is. I'm talking under normal circumstances. Is disease normal? Yes, it is, if your lifestyle is such that you're toxifying yourself or you're depriving yourself of something that you need. The end result will be illness or disease. So in essence, it is normal if you deprive the cells of what they need, or you toxify them and you're poisoning them and they start to malfunction. Malfunctioning cells leading to disease is normal. But also when you fortify the disease, when you make them sufficient, in other words, they're lacking nothing. There's no toxic environment that you are in, or there's no toxic chemicals that you are eating, you cannot get ill. You have an immune system that prevents that. So if you get ill, then there's something you're deficient in or something you're toxic in. No questions asked, no exceptions to that. So now the answer to the question, or the question again: how is your current food choice, or how are your current food choices interfering with your quest for wellness? And it doesn't have to be every day. Can you eat a crappy meal? Yeah, you can. Just make sure that you can eat a crappy meals all day long. And then the next day you pick up eating right. It's what you do the majority of the time. Kind of take the 80-20 rule. If you want to have a big old tub of popcorn and you want to go see a movie and you put layered popcorn, layered butter throughout that popcorn, like Marcy and I do when we go to the movie theater sometimes, that's great. But the next day, get right back on the horse of eating healthy food. Because like I said, there's no such thing as bad food or good food. There's just bad food choices and good food choices. And if you make good food choices the majority of the time, you are pursuing wellness. If you make bad food choices the majority of the time, you are pursuing illness. There is no exception, and there's no drug that you can be prescribed to change that circumstance, because every drug has a warning label, which means every drug is toxic, which means too much of it is going to be bad for you. Too much of a drug that's supposed to help you go in the right direction could actually be causing you to accelerate going in the bad direction. Just use some common sense, people. So now, second question: what activities do you take part in that are obstacles to your health and wellness? In other words, what are you tuning into on Netflix or Hulu that is toxic for you, that makes you think toxic thoughts? Don't poison your own mind. Don't abuse your own mind. Don't watch things that freak you out. Don't watch things that cause you to get stressed, because when you get stressed, your body produces stress hormones. Stress hormones are not good for you. watching things that are scare you is not good for you. Now, can you do it once in a while? Sure. Just don't do it the majority of the time. Make it this simple. If you are eating good things the majority of the time, you're pursuing wellness. If you have good habits and you're bringing good things into your mind the majority of the time, you're pursuing wellness. Just don't get in a kick. Don't get in a season. Don't get into a habit of pursuing bad things. Okay, so what activities do you take part in that are obstacles to your health and wellness? Don't pollute your own mind. Don't disturb your own mind. Respect your sanity. Respect your peace of mind. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. Take your health seriously, my friends, and don't disturb or poison your own thoughts. Next question: how are your sleep and exercise habits interfering with your health and wellness, or your quest for health and wellness? If you wake up tired, you're not getting enough sleep, or you're not getting enough of the right kind of sleep, or you're not promoting the right environment to sleep well and get into delta sleep, deep sleep, and wake up refreshed. I know people that sleep 6 hours and wake up rejuvenated and ready to take on the world. And I know people that sleep 10 hours and stumble out of their bed to the coffee pot, and it takes them an hour before they're in their right mind. The difference is not how long you sleep, it's what kind of sleep you're getting. And there are people that are behind in a cubicle, behind a computer, in front of a screen, sitting in a chair all day, every day, and they're getting iller and iller and iller. Yes, I'm a Beastie Boys fan from the 80s and 90s, or the 80s primarily. And I had a license to ill back then. But if you're getting more ill, which is the correct verbiage, if you're getting more and more ill, it's because you're moving less and less. Movement or sitting is the new cancer. Your body needs to be in motion. The more motion and fluid and mobile and what's the word I'm looking for? Mobile and flexible your body is, the better health you're going to have, because movement is the key of life. Last question for you guys, and I'll call it a day. What habits are you willing to develop that will move your body and your mind toward a state of wellness? I would just say be proactive. Eat the right foods the majority of the time. Can you have a cheat day? Absolutely. When you have your cheat day, go all in on your cheat day. Don't just screw around. If you want to eat a half gallon of, what is my favorite? Moose Tracks ice cream, eat a half gallon of Moose Tracks ice cream, but be prepared for your body to say, that was a dumb decision. Be ready for your brain to be a little cloudy. But when you wake up the next day, drink a ton of water that day, and get active, get moving, and get right back on the bandwagon of good health, and you won't even feel it the second day. Is it okay to do silly stuff? Yes, it is, but do it in moderation, and do it the majority of the time. Eat right, make good decisions, sleep well, move well, think well, and put good things in your mind. Are you willing to do those things? If you are willing to pursue wellness, if you are willing to get in your own vehicle and drive it all the time, don't even unbuckle. You may let some passengers in, but don't put them in the back seat. Let them be backseat drivers of your ill habits and your temptations and your habits and maybe even your addictions. But keep them in check. Let them know who's boss. Be your own driver of health. Do good things the majority of the time. Think good things the majority of the time. Eat good things the majority of your time. Don't put your body in compromising positions the majority of the time. And be active and sleep right and sleep long enough the majority of the time, and you will be well. Don't toxify yourself, and don't deprive yourself of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that are necessary for you, and you will be well. Why do I know this? Absolute fact. No discussions. You can't rebuke it. You can't refute it. There is no way to do it, because your body's natural quest is toward wellness. And when you and your body are in unison and you're making good decisions, you will be well. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you found any value in this at all, please share it forward. We'll see you tomorrow for episode 60. My friends, have a wonderful day. Take care. God bless, and share this forward. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.